Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here, and today I'm doing a video which I am calling Checked Out. There's been a lot of discussion recently on libraries and use of libraries, and I've just done the library lovers tag, so if you've watched that you know that I absolutely love my library and that both I and my husband have library cards, but he doesn't read, so don't tell anyone, but I get all of his books out from his card too. I've been really jealous to learn that in other countries you're allowed, some people, up to 100 books out at a time. That would be heaven. That would be heaven. But in the UK, or at least in my area of the UK, you're only allowed 12 books out on your card. So having my husband's allows me 24 books at a time, which is a good amount for me, although probably still too many to have out in one go. So I want to show you the books that I've currently got out of my library because I am loving it at the moment. I didn't realise quite how many of the new releases and the books that I hear about are there, and as I don't really reread and I don't tend to keep my books very often, it seems silly not to borrow them. So let's get into the books. So some of these you may have seen because they were a choice on my Ribsat TBR, but unfortunately they weren't chosen. But that was probably for the best actually. I really enjoyed getting through the books that you guys chose for me. So they are Honour's Knight and Heaven's Queen, which are the next two books after Fortune's Pawn by Rachel Bach, and I can't wait to get to these. I'm going to be reading these really soon. Next is a book called Paper Valentine by Brenna Yavanoff. This book is about a girl whose friend 6 months or so previous starved herself to death, and it's about her ghost coming back and warning her of a murderer in their midst, and it's about ghosts, and yeah, I've heard someone talk about it a while ago and it was at my library, so I picked it up. Next is a book called The Edge of Never, which is by J.A. Redmersky. I think this is a new adult novel. I think it was previously an ebook that sold so many copies that they published it. So I'm interested to see how this one goes. Next is a dystopian, I think, a YA dystopian called Pure by Juliana Bagot. I've seen it a couple of times in the library. I picked it up. I think it's about sort of a dystopian world where everything goes to pot and they all live under domes and everything's not as it seems. I quite like those. They're just easygoing romps. Next is a book I know absolutely nothing about, so if any of you have read it or can tell me about it, please do. It's called The Paladin Prophecy by Mark Frost. I just thought it looked interesting. All it says on the back is, rules for staying alive, trust no one, there is no such thing as a coincidence, don't watch your life like it's a movie that's happening to someone else, it's happening to you, it's happening right now. A mysterious thriller from the screenwriter of Fantastic Four and co-creator of Twin Peaks. And that's what caught my attention. So if any of you have read it, let me know. Next up is God's War by Cameron Hurley. This is a science fiction story with bounty hunters. Sounds good. Next is The Drowning of Arthur Braxton by Caroline Smales. I've heard really good things about this. I think it's a coming of age story from the point of view of a young boy, perhaps having some type of relationship with an older woman. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe. Next is a book that I originally saw on the Book Riot channel, and the ladies there talked about it and said how good it was, so I picked it up, and that's Fair Fight by Anna Freeman. It's set in the Victorian times. I believe it's about a female bare-fisted boxer, maybe? Next is The People in the Trees by Hanya Yanagihara. I've got A Little Life by this writer, but I wanted to try this one. I've heard good things. It's set in sort of a jungle, I believe. It's written about an anthropological expedition looking into these this group of indigenous people. Yeah, I just wanted to give it a go. I've never read anything by this writer and I wanted to try this before I read This Little Life. Next is a book that I'd seen a few times but I didn't realise it was out, and that is Charlene Harris's Midnight Crossroad. It's she's the same writer I think that wrote Sookie Stackhouse, or you know, the True Blood, the TV show was based on, and this sounds like a good start to a new series, so I wanted to try it out. Next is another John Scalzi and Fuzzy Nation. I'm excited to give this one a go. Next is a light contemporary YA book, 99 Days, that I've seen on quite a few people's channels recently, and I've heard some people say how good it was, so if I'm in the need for something contemporary and a bit lighter, I'm going to give this a go. I think it's about a girl that cheats on her high school sweetheart with his brother, and then her mum writes a book about it, or something. Next is a book I was really excited to find my library had, and that is The Great Zoo of China by Matt Riley. I think this is going to be a little bit Jurassic Park-ish. I can't wait. And then just a couple more. I've got The Game of Love and Death by Matthew Brockenbrough. This is a YA book about love and death, and they are real people having a game or playing a game against each other, and this witting male and female character gets stuck in the middle of this game. One before last is True Fire by Gary Meehan. This is about a death in a family. Someone has to go and save her family and go on a mission. It says, in a world of lies, one girl will fight for the truth. And it says on the little sticker, if you liked Throne of Glass, you'll like this. Well, I can't tell you if I like Throne of Glass because I haven't read it yet, but I know a lot of people do, so I'm going to give this one a go. And then the final book is Crow Moon by Anna McKerrow, and I've heard really great things about this. I think it was Lucy the Reader that said how much she enjoyed this and that it was going to be on one of her top books for this year already, so that is high praise indeed. So the book, the back says, the green world is ruled by many powerful women, and 16-year-old Danny can't help falling in love with the most beautiful one. With his mum as head witch of the green world, Danny has a lot to live up to. He can't spend all his time chasing girls, and as the outside world begins to threaten his community, Danny must draw on reserves of magic he didn't know he had. But with the beautiful sorceress Saba at his side, he thinks maybe this witch thing isn't such a bad idea after all. Because for Danny, magic might be mundane, but love is never boring. So this will be interesting. It's from a male protagonist point of view, so yeah, I'm interested in that. So that is the ridiculous amount of books that I have checked out from the library, but I don't care. It's free and they can go back, and it doesn't matter I haven't read them. I'll just add them to my TBR again and pick them up another time. But I generally try and get to these, and I'm going to have a good push next week. I'm going to be trying to read library books all the way, so let's see how we get on with that. Okay, well that's all from me. I'd be interested to hear if you've read any of these books and how you feel about your library, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now, BookTube.